Did you know that every single Sellers Manufacturing boiler is test fired before it leaves the factory? Yes, every single boiler. And when they test fire it, they make a report that shows the numbers and the factory setup. To make sure you have the correct test report, the numbers on the test report are going to match the Sellers Manufacturing sticker on the front of the electrical panel. If you do not have a test report, you can contact your local Sellers Manufacturing rep with the model number and the serial number, and they'll be able to get you the proper information. Now that we have the proper factory test record for this boiler, let's go over the information and where you can find it. So for the stack O2, stack CO2, stack CO, stack NOx, and then the stack temperature and ambient temperature, you can use your calibrated combustion analyzer in order to get those settings. Your combustion analyzer will have a measuring probe, and we're going to insert that probe into this stack connection on the rear of the boiler. Make sure that the probe length is set to be in the center of the stack for proper combustion measurement. Since this Sellers Manufacturing boiler is a modulating boiler, it's going to use the LMV5 system, and this AZL on the front of the electrical panel is how you're going to change the air damper and the fuel settings of the boiler. Inside the AZL, as you set the curve of the boiler, are going to be air damper settings and fuel valve settings, and you're going to transfer those settings after you set them up onto the factory test record. For a customer installed boiler, the installation is going to be slightly different than the Sellers Manufacturing site, especially if you have a higher elevation. So you're going to want to make sure that you are always checking the air-fuel ratio of the boiler. Sellers Manufacturing, when they test fired the boiler, they've set the fuel pressure and the fuel valve settings to be metered. So you should only have to make air damper settings when you're making your final adjustments for your installed boiler. The next line of the factory test record is going to be your input. That is your gas input that the factory has metered for the gas flow input to the burner. You're normally not going to change this, as the factory has set this up so that you have the proper high fire and low fire turn down settings. Next, we're going to measure pressures for each test point. We have a couple different pressures, so let me show you how to measure them. Here behind this air switch, we have a T and a 1/4 inch plug. This 1/4 inch plug, you're going to insert a fitting and connect your manometer to it, and that is how you're going to get your blower pressure. Here on the downstream side of the gas servo valve, we have a fitting installed on this one. This is a field fitting. You're only going to have a plug, so you're going to remove the plug, and this fitting is going to be the gas servo pressure. Here on the side of the boiler, on the front door, on the lower end, we have a manifold test port. This is going to measure the manifold pressure of the air and fuel that is mixed before it reaches the burner. And the last pressure we're going to get is our combustion chamber pressure on the side of the shell of the boiler that measures the pressure inside the combustion chamber. Here in the electrical panel, you always want to be mindful of electricity, and if it's on, it's going to be on, so always wear the proper PPE. Right now we have the panel de-energized, but you're going to measure your blower amps. We have our motor starter on the side here, and we have L1, L2, and L3. You're going to take your amp clamp and only connect it on one wire. So you're going to take L3, L2, L1, and the amperage should be about the same across all three legs. The last measurement we want to get is the pilot pressure at high fire. You're going to do that on this tap here. This tap here is a 1/4 inch tap that goes to the pilot line. And that pilot pressure is essential for proper operation of your pilot runners so that they can properly ignite the gas nozzles of your Sellers Manufacturing S-Series boiler. That concludes the process of checking the factory test record against your boiler. If you have any other questions, you can go to sellersmfg.com, go to the factory tab, and locate your factory rep who can help you with any questions or information that you need. If you haven't already, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to learn more about Sellers Manufacturing products.